Hello, and welcome back to the Intro to Python course here on Ladybug. I'm Kanishka for a refresher, and today we're going to talk about loops. So, what are they? Computers are great at doing boring tasks without complaining. We, however, aren't, but we are good at getting computers to do repetitive work for us. And how we do it is we use loops. So loops it's kind of what it sounds like. It's when you run the same section or block of code over and over and over again instead of typing it every single time. So for example, let's say we wanted to write a program where we printed the word hello 10 times. So normally we would do print hello, and then we would do it again, print hello, and then we keep doing that 10 times, right? But we don't want to write a single line of code again and again and again. That takes up a lot of time and effort. But let's say if we wanted to do it 50 times or 100 times, it's just not feasible. We could instead use a loop. So, there are two different kinds of loops: for loops and while loops. Right now we're going to talk about for loops because they come into this example. So, a for loop has different sections in it. We have the for, and then we have a variable, usually x, but any variable. So for x in, and then range, which tells us how many times we want the how many times we want the computer to print or computer to do the same action again and again. So in this case, we want to print the word hello 10 times. So we would write for, and we can do for x in range, for I in range. Those usually you hear I in range and x in range, but we can do any variable. In this case, I'll just choose I. For I in range, and instead, if we want to print it 10 times, we have to do 1, comma 11, because in Python code, the word range followed by two numbers within brackets stands for all the numbers from the first number to one less than the second number. So in this case, it'd be all the numbers from 1 to 1 less than 11 would be 10. Don't forget the colon. I tend to do that a lot. Okay. And Python automatically indents for us. So we want to write, here we write the action, what we want it to do. And in this case, we want Python to print the word hello. And it works. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10 times. So let's dissect this piece of code a little more so we can understand what it does exactly. So the loop variable, which is this I over here, keeps track of how many times we've gone around the loop so far. So the first time around, it's equal to the first number in the list, in the range. So the first time, it would be 1. The second time, it's equal to the second number in the list. So 2, 3, 4. And then when we use all numbers in the list, so 1 to 10, it stops looping. So the first loop, the loop variable would be equal to 1. Second time, the loop variable is 2. And then 3, 4, so on and so forth. Let's try a different example. How about we say for this time, we could use a different variable. For example, for ghost in range 1 to 31. We'll do print boo, sticking to our Halloween theme. Yeah, and this gives us 30, not 31. So that's our first kind of loop, for loop. But we have another kind of loop as well. There's also while loops. So we usually use this when we don't really know how many times we want to repeat the code, right? So in this case, we know we want to print boo 30 times, but we can use a while loop when we don't know. So a while loop doesn't really have a loop variable that's set to a range of values, such as for loops. This is more of a Boolean expression that can be either true or false. Think of it as, I usually use this analogy, think of it as a big party. And to get into the party, you need a golden ticket. So people come and go and they bring different kinds of tickets, silver tickets, normal tickets, but only if you have a golden ticket will you be admitted into the party. So if you have a golden ticket, that statement in Python would be true because it's true that you have a golden ticket. But if you don't have a golden ticket and you have a different ticket, that would be considered false because the party host won't let you in. And the party in this case would be the loop. So let's write a program that can kind of help us visualize what a while loop really is and what it entails. So let's write a program that can help us visualize while loops and their purpose in code. Okay, so I want to write a program that can keep track of the number of marbles I have because I love marbles and I collect them a lot. So we're going to start by making up a variable, marbles, and right now I only have 2 marbles with me. And we're going to make another one, answer. We're going to set that equal to yes, y, but yes. And then now comes our while loop. So while my answer equals yes, colon, and then Python automatically indents for us, we are going to make marbles equal to marbles plus 1. So every time Python asks, or my program asks me if I want to add another marble, if I say yes, Python is going to add another marble for me, and then they're going to print the total number of marbles I have after adding 1. So then I want to say print, and I want it to print the string marbles plus space. And then now I have to put answer equals input because after I say yes, I want my program to ask me again if I want another marble. Input. Then I'm going to put yes or no. Three marbles. Want another marble? I'll go with yes. 4 marbles. Yes. 5 marbles. Yes. 6 marbles. Yes. 7 marbles. Yes. 8. I think 8 is enough. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna say no. And I have exited the while loop. So the second I say no, the statement becomes false, I am immediately out of the while loop. Sometimes you can code an infinite loop, and this happens when a while loop keeps going for as long as the program is running. Sometimes people want this, and sometimes it occurs accidentally in a program. And this kind of loop is called an infinite loop. And a lot of video games use infinite loops known as a main loop. So for an example of an infinite loop would be while true, print this is an infinite loop. And as you can see, this is going on and it will go on for infinity. And if we don't want an infinite loop, it's important to make sure the body of the while loop does something that can make the loop condition false. But if you accidentally code an infinite loop, or purposely in this case, not to worry, you can escape it by pressing the C key and holding down on Control. You might have to press this several times before you quit the loop. And as you can see, I did, and the loop immediately quit. There is a way to escape infinity in a loop to get input from the user by using break. So for example, if we did this, while true, answer equals input. Let's do a simple question. How about, are you hungry? Yes or no? If answer equals yes, colon, we want it to print go eat some food then. And we also want our function or our program to break, which means it will end by itself without asking any further questions. Let's run this now. Okay, are you hungry? I'm going to say no. I'm going to keep saying no, and it's going to keep asking me because the statement is still true. And then I'm going to say yes. And the program has officially left the while loop. Nested loop. Okay, so nested, we've covered for loops, while loops, but we haven't talked about nested loops yet because they're basically when a loop is inside of another loop. An example of this would be maybe in for loops. If we want to print the word orange, orange, lemon, for example, I don't know why you would, but yeah, you can. So for orange, that would be our variable. For count orange is our variable. In range, let's do 1, 4, colon, and then we'll do another loop because that's what a nested loop is. And then we'll do count lemon in range 1, 3, print you want to print lemon, we gotta go back, and now we'll print you want to write print orange. And the reason why we have to go back 4 spaces or back in the indent is because indentations are really important in Python because they help Python know what exactly we're talking about. When we say print lemon, it's for the for count lemon in range loop, but when we say print orange, that's talking about the for count orange in range. So if we print this, it would print lemon, lemon, orange, lemon, lemon, orange, lemon, lemon, orange, which is what we wanted. So how this works is the whole of the inner for loop is inside the body of the outer for loop. So each time we do one repeat of the outer loop, we have to do 2 repeats of the inner loop. So this means that the body of the outer loop is run 3 times in total, but the body of the inner loop is run 6 times. And that's basically it for loops. I hope you enjoyed this lesson and you learned something from it. And who knows, maybe you might start programming something after this and you might use some of the stuff you've learned about loops in your program. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.